All right, everybody, we've got a real treat for you guys today. We have on the line with me someone who is making their return to Rob as a podcast after almost 2 years and is having one hell of a week. Not only is it their third appearance on Rob as a podcast, they also had a birthday and got engaged, and they played with Tyson on Survivor Tocantins. Here's Erinn Lobdell. Erinn, how are you?
Ah, I'm good.
Yes.
How are you?
Doing very good. Long time no speak.
No kidding. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it definitely has. But yeah, we got a lot of requests that please get Erinn Lobdell back on the podcast. You were a fantastic guest in the past, and I hope that no pressure that you could live up to the billing once again.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
Now, just a little bit of a heads up for you guys who watch the video version of these interviews. I'm recording video, but we have some technical difficulties that Erinn is unable to get her video working. So if for some reason you still want to see a video of this, there's video of this, but it's just of me with Erinn's audio. So if you want to check that out, I'm not sure why you'd want to, but it's there if you need to. All right. So that being said, Erinn, first off, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm super excited.
Yes. So, I later on we're gonna want to hear about this. Want to hear this? Is it a good? Do you have a good story?
It's a good story.
Okay, good. All right. So we'll tease
Yeah.
that a little bit, and then I mean, the last time we had you on the podcast, it was another one of your Tocantins buddies back on the show during Survivor South Pacific when Coach came back, and now here's Tyson.
I must have had a good season because they sure bring people back.
Yeah. Well, they keep bringing the same people back. They brought back
Well,
JT
this is
twice,
true.
3 times for Coach, 3 times for Tyson.
Yeah, this is true. This
And
is true. Coach has only been on 3 times. I feel like he's been on like 14 times since we were there.
Coach.
No? Yeah, 14. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. When I did the exit interview with Candace last week, she swore that he was on 4 times. She said, "Oh well, they brought back Boston
No,
Rob
I
for."
think so too.
I don't think
I think
so.
so too. I was really thinking it was 4.
It feels like 4, but it's only 3.
It does feel like 4. Feels like 4 too many.
4 too many. All right, let's talk about Tyson a bit here on this Survivor Blood versus Water. And all of a sudden, Tyson is really starting to blossom here as a Survivor player. It's like baby birds will fly. Are you impressed
No kidding.
with Tyson
Yeah,
3.0?
yeah. He's turned into a bit of a player, I think. I don't know that it's necessarily unexpected. Like, I think that he's always had some pretty good ideas about strategy. One thing I've noticed this season, as opposed to seasons in the past, is that I think he really is playing a little bit more humble. He's been in situations where he thought he had the game in the bag before, and now he's really, like, he's sort of realized, I think, that a little humility can go a long way and that he's not untouchable. And I think that it's going to make a better game for him. I think now that he realizes that, he'll go really far instead of, thinking he's just like got it for sure and then falling without realizing it.
So on your season on Survivor Tocantins, Tyson felt like he had the
Yeah.
game in the bag until you and your
Oh,
friends got through with him.
yeah, 100%. I mean, he thought he was just like king of the world. It was kind of the same thing that's happening right now, where he was sort of letting other people be in charge, and he thought he would just come in and win every challenge, and he really thought that he had an upper hand, but didn't realize that he might be threatening to people and that they maybe needed to cut him loose.
How about this injury that Tyson has, where his shoulder is in a sling? Does that help him in the game? Like, if he had this injury in Tocantins, would you guys have thought he was as much of a threat?
I don't think so. I think that Tyson is merely like a physical threat. I would never have considered him to be someone who's a real strategic threat. I think that there are people who have better strategy than he does. But I mean, he is very much a physical threat, and so to have this injury and kind of play it up, I think is a really smart move by him. Because there are a couple of real athletic guys in this group, and so it really puts him, not at the very top, but maybe the second or the third guy you got to worry about, and it's a smart move.
Now, do we have a pattern here with Tyson and his strategy that he likes to sort of buddy up with another guy, be it a coach, be it a Boston Rob, in this case, an Otis, and he likes to sort of be like drifting, like off the back of them in the game. And maybe, we didn't see it in Survivor Heroes versus Villains, and I don't remember seeing it in Survivor Tocantins, but then starting to figure out a plan to get rid of the top dog and then taking their spot.
You don't remember seeing it. I mean, he was assistant coach. That's like his thing. He's assistant coach until somebody wants to get rid of him.
Yes, but was Tyson plotting to get rid of Coach on Survivor Tocantins? The way he's talking about trying to get rid of Otis?
No. Tyson's thing with Coach was sort of like let Coach do all the dirty work, let people not like him. Eventually, like, Coach will weed himself out. Like, he is somebody who, and I think that this is a big part of Tyson's strategy always. Like with Coach, it was, he's going to be so annoying to people, at some point they'll vote him out. Or like, if I really show that Ars is this, like boss man, people aren't going to like it, they'll vote him out. He's really good at sort of planting the seeds and just hoping that things work out in his favor. The only problem is nothing has worked out in his favor, and like, he hasn't done quite enough to get there. In theory, I think his strategy is really good. In practice, it probably needs a little more work.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll have plenty more to talk about Tyson as we go along here. Let's talk about last night's episode specifically. And we had Kat, who was the one to go home. How bad did you think that Kat ended up screwing this up, Erinn?
That girl is so dumb.
Oh, no. Erinn.
I mean, no, I don't mean like in life. Like, just in this one episode, she made a dumb move.
Yeah.
When you do something and you get caught, like, you own it before you get caught. When somebody says, what were you just talking about? You say, I was talking about maybe it's a good idea to vote you out, because I really do think that you're a great player, and I do think you're threatening, and I do think you strategize a lot, and people like you, and you spin it so that it's a really flattering move to vote that person out, instead of being like, I never said that. I love you. I have your back always. I would never do that. Like, you shoot yourself in the own foot in that. Come on.
Definitely being caught in the lie was bad. But Erinn, if we were on Survivor and you heard that I was talking about you and you came to me and I said that same exact thing to you, like, you know what? You got me. I was talking about getting you out because you're so good. Would that change anything for you?
Well, it wouldn't make me want to vote you out.
Oh, well, that's good to know. Who would you want to vote out?
Yeah, no, I don't know. It would make me say, like, okay, well, let's have a conversation about this. Let's talk about, like, maybe what a potential different move is. I would maybe try and steer you in a new direction instead of saying, everybody vote for you. I mean, if you're an idiot, like, it's easy to get everybody on the side of the idiot. Like, get them out. Like, no big deal. You did something wrong. Everybody agrees on it. You go home. But, like, I would much rather, instead of saying, I'm going to be the target or you're going to be the target, I would much rather say, well, let's just pick a new target that we can all agree on. That way, I'm not one, you're not one. I'm not trying to make people pick sides. I'm just saying, let's push this in a new direction.
I never got the real sense last night. What was it that Monica did that annoyed Kat so much? Like, she says she was strategizing,
I felt the same.
Yeah.
I felt the same. She was like, she just talks too much. She talks too much. Like, I mean, you can't, like, obviously, like, if you're going to be in an alliance with somebody, you're going to see their strategizing. If you're not in an alliance with somebody, like, they could be strategizing all the time and you'd never know. But, like, of course you're going to know what her strategy is. Like, you're part of it. I thought it was really weird.
Yeah, it really was.
It was really weird.
No.
And I would think that Monica would be an asset, like, losing a loved one.
You would think so.
It was really weird to me.
Not for Kat. Now, Steven and I talked about this quite a bit last night, and I don't want to poison your opinion if you don't know what ours is yet. Did you like that move for Tina and company, for Tina and Monica and Tina's daughter, to vote out Kat instead of Vetus?
Yes, very much so.
I
thought it was good.
What did you like so much about it?
I thought that it was, like, as soon as you have somebody who seems like they're a little bit unstable or unreliable or somebody that you're not quite sure you can count on, and you're in a situation where you're merging or you're flipping or you're switching tribes, or all these things are happening, like, you need to be able to count on your people just a little bit more. And I would rather have, like, obviously, like, I'm not saying that they can count on Venus more than they can count on her. Like, they don't know him, they certainly can't trust him yet, but I would rather have three people in my alliance that knew were rock solid than three people who were rock solid and one who I felt shaky about. I think that yes, there's strength in numbers, but not if one of your numbers is completely unreliable. And I feel like Kat really showed that. And then when she came back, like, backpedaling to them and, like, tripping over her words and saying, but I love you guys so much, and I would never. Well, you just proved that you would. So I think that she becomes a huge liability for them.
The part of it that I really liked so much was I felt like it was this very savvy move for Tina, because I feel like she, who is very close with Otis from what we've seen so far,
Yes.
she gets to keep Otis's brother in the game, and her and
Yeah.
Otis are the only two people that have their loved ones still intact in the game, not on Red Eye. So you have that foursome, and Tina's able to not only keep that group intact, but also keep Monica. So she really has like two different avenues that she could go down of, like, the Monica alliance and the Otis alliance. And the fact that she kept Vetus in the game, I feel like really strengthens that bond going into the merge.
I agree. And I think it's smart with Vetus too, because you don't quite know, like, they touched on it a little bit from both sides, but, like, we don't quite know what Vetus and Otis's relationship is. Like, it could be this really, like, brotherly love tight bond, or it could really not be. And I think, like, one of the things that they were looking for with Blood versus Water is, are you going to betray your loved ones? Are you going to keep your loved ones in? What are you going to do? That's the only relationship that I feel like could go either way. Like, if you're mother and daughter, like, of course you're not going to cross your daughter. Like, you'd be the worst mom in the world. If it's your girlfriend or your husband or whoever, like, obviously, like, you have to live with that person every day. Like, you're not going to cross them. Like, but I really feel like their relationship is a little volatile. So you don't quite know what's happening. And, there could be a point where Vetus and Otis aren't playing on the same page, and Vetus could be a real asset to Tina as well. And, she already sort of has Otis in her pocket a little bit, I feel like. She's playing really smart. I think she's kind of seated better than almost anybody at this point.
Well, I've wondered this watching this season, and I know Otis, I don't know Vetus at all. I mean, do you think that everything we're seeing on the show is, is as it seems? Is this relationship as strained as, or do you think that maybe are both of them sort of embellishing this for TV, and then come, time at the merge, we'll see just how close they actually are?
That's a really good point. I've wondered the same. But I do think that, maybe in the first week or so, it's pretty easy to kind of build up the character that you want to portray or tell a story that you want told. But once you get into that second week and you're hungry and things get hard and you start to get paranoid and stuff, it's kind of tough to keep up the facade of feelings that aren't very real, So I think that part of the story will start to really come out a bit. And if they do have any of those, like, real resentment towards each other, it could really come out. It'll be hard to bury it. And, you're at a point where, think about, like, when you were, I don't know, say 20 days in, and, like, even if you're doing well, if you're feeling good about your gameplay, like, you would die to have somebody that you loved out there with you. Like, that would be amazing. And once they get on the same page, if they really are, if they do have this great bond and they're so close, we're going to see that, because they're not going to be able to fake it. Like, I think it would just be too tough at that point when the show progresses so long that you really are having a tough time and missing home and those kinds of things. I just think it would be really hard to play something that's not genuine.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And that's why I always scoff whenever anybody talks about, like, oh, that whole thing I did out there, I was acting for 30 days. Because
No,
I think that the great thing about Survivor, as opposed to any of these other reality shows, is the conditions, the hunger, the lack of shelter, the lack of sleep just break you down, and all you have is what you are. And you can act in certain moments, but you can't for 39 days be somebody that you're not. I don't believe that you can do
agree.
that. So I to speak, I think you brought up a good point that I don't think if this relationship isn't strained, I don't think that Aris and Vetus could fake this for the entire time that they're out there.
Yes,
And it
yes.
also, I don't know if you watch do you ever watch The Big Brother?
I don't watch The Big Brother,
Okay, well, we're gonna talk more about Hayden in the second half of this show.
but I do. I've met Hayden quite a few times, and I did see bits of his Big Brother.
Well, I was gonna
So
say,
we can touch on that.
well, I was gonna say about Big Brother in particular, when there was a father and daughter that they put in the Big
Yes,
Brother
I
house.
actually watched that season.
Yeah, evil Dick and
Okay.
Danielle, and they had a
Yeah,
very strained
yeah.
relationship, and even since they've
Yep.
left the house, have continued to have a strained relationship. But for that one summer that they were both in the same hostile environment together, they got along fabulously and got along really great. And
Yeah.
I wonder if if Otis and Vetus can get together after the merge, everything that was all these problems probably will go by the wayside, and they'll probably
Yeah.
get along very well.
Yeah, I would think so as well.
Common enemies.
Unless somebody somehow double crosses the other.
Boy.
And then I think, should that happen? Like, I mean, you get there and you've played this game for, like, let's say they merge on day 25. I don't know.
Okay.
Just throwing a number
Throwing
out
it
there.
out
That
there.
could be way off. But, okay, so it's day 25, and now you've spent almost a full month with these people who have held on to you, kept you in the game, like been your rock this whole time, and your brother comes in, and it's time to really, like, make some decisions, and your brother says, and, not a question of voting each other out necessarily, but your brother says, the person in my core alliance we need to protect tonight. So I need you to make sure that we vote out this, like, person X. And you say, well, person X is my person. I can't vote that person out. Like, that's the person that kept me here so I could get to you. And the brother says, well, I need you to do this for me. This is the way it's going to have to be. And if your only options are person X and person Y, and one of you has to vote out the other's person, that could really, that could change things. It doesn't mess with you're not voting out your brother, but you're certainly not supporting him because you have your own, gameplay to worry about too. There's a lot of factors that could be really interesting. And the thing that I always have thought since the day that they announced that this was, the theme of the season or whatever, was that different relationships will be really different on the show. If I go on the show and I'm with my fiance and we compete on the show, obviously we win because I'm super smart and he's a professional athlete. But that is neither here nor there. If we compete and we win, whatever we do, no matter what, one of us wins, we come home with $1 million. If my fiance goes on with his brother and they compete and one of them wins, one of them goes home with $1 million. So it really kind of changes the way that you would want to look at playing the game and who you would want to play it with and how those relationships will affect the gameplay. I think it's a really interesting concept.
Yeah, layers has been the word that we've been throwing around all season long. And there are so many layers. And going back to what you were talking about with the Otis and Vetus relationship, I think that's a really, really good point as well, because that relationship is different than Tina and Katie. Because if, Tina says, "Hey, I think we need to vote out, Laura Bonham," Tina says, "I want to vote out Sierra," and Katie says, "Well, I think we should vote out Laura Bonham." That discussion is like, "Oh, honey, you don't trust your mom. Your mom is one survivor. You leave it to me."
Totally.
And that's not the same. Whereas if Otis says, "I want to vote out Hayden," and Vitas says, well, I want to vote out Tina, then that is not like Otis can't say to Vitas, you listen. I'm the Survivor winner here. I know. I trust me on
Yeah.
this. Trust me. That's not going to
Yeah.
fly. It won't work. So that will be very
No.
interesting to watch how that goes. And that's the only relationship that's left that's like that, assuming that Laura Moret doesn't come back into the game. But the Laura Moret thing is going to be much more like the Tina thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
100%.
that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So do you agree with what I think of? And please, you better. No. My thoughts about the merge is I feel like, with Tyson and Jervis coming to looking like they're going to make a move against Otis, do you feel like Otis and Vitas are going to be with Tina and Katie and potentially Monica after the merge, with Tyson and Jervis gathering their forces to make a run at these guys?
I mean, I think that sort of seems like it would be the natural progression. And I would hope that Tyson is not like cocky enough to think that he could do that and make that work. But I do think that there's a bit of Tyson, and I know that like from the first time he played with us to the second time he played, like I talked to him after the second time when again he really thought that like he thought he had every skill to win the game. Like he'll be the first to tell you, he was made for this game. Like his brain works the way that you need your brain to work to play Survivor. He's great at challenges. He's got good people skills. He can lie to you and you don't necessarily realize that it's happening, and he doesn't feel bad about it. Like he encompasses a lot of the things that you need to be successful in the game. And because of that, he just sometimes assumes that he will be successful, like no matter what the odds stacked against him, no matter what the cost. And I would really hope that he's learned from his past experiences that he needs to really think about it a little harder, to play the game a little bit better. And maybe, it's going to be not letting the natural progression happen of, splitting up and taking Tina and Katie and with Ars and Vitas and, that sort of thing. Like maybe he needs to try and get some of them on his side a little bit more. I think I think you're right. I think that's what's going to happen. I hope that is not what happens.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I would hope for Tyson, and I like both Tyson and Otis, so I hope that they figure out a way to work together and go far into the game.
Yes.
But I feel like it would be too early to take out Otis, because once Otis is gone, then I feel like people say, well, now Tyson's the biggest threat. We got to get Tyson out.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like
100% agree.
And I've talked to Tyson. I mean, I've had him on the podcast, 6 or 7 times over the years, and I feel like we've talked about this a few times. And I think he feels like he can never win the game of Survivor because people are always going to look at him as a threat and end up voting him out. And I feel like in some ways I could relate to that. In the second time I went back, I felt like people said, okay, well he's a threat, not for the same reasons that Tyson was a threat. We have to vote him out. And I feel like for Tyson that he actually has a chance to get past that point in the game where he's with Otis, they control the numbers, and he could get to the end of the game where he's close enough to win enough challenges that he can get to the end of the game. Like that's the line in the sand, I feel like, for Tyson. If he could just get past the point where it's right after the merge where he got voted out on Survivor Tocantins, if he can make it a few more votes after that, he'll be close enough that he could win out and get to that money. So I feel like...
You know what, though? Like, I agree with you, and I've felt that way. It's like if he can get far enough to where he can win to the end, like then he gets there, he makes a great case of, I made all these moves, I orchestrated some votes, I didn't orchestrate every vote, I won my way through these challenges, like I deserve to be here, I deserve the money. And I think you're exactly right. Like once he can cross that, the problem is he needs to cross that with somebody like Vitas, not with ours. I think that you have... Tyson kind of gets in his head a little bit when he's not... If he's having to operate on a level playing field, I don't think that he is as confident. And I think that he thinks he can win all the way to the end if he gets rid of the people that he can't beat. Like he knows 100% that he can beat 80 to 90% of the people he plays against, but it's those, those one or two guys that might be just as good or close to as good as he is that kind of can be a little threatening. So, for as much as he's the biggest threat, there are people who I think are a real threat to him. Plus, you have to add into the fact that there are people who are more likable than Tyson, too.
Impossible.
So if they're just
I reject that.
I mean, like, he's just so straightforward, and I think that people can find that a little intimidating. And so if you have, like, obviously, like, he's so funny and he's so many things, but like, he's the kind of guy that you say, like, do I look fat in these pants? And if you do, he'll tell you yes. And like, there's other people that would be like, oh my God, no, you're beautiful. Well, you're always going to want to like the person who says you're beautiful more.
Mm-hmm.
That person always wins.
Note to self, don't ask Tyson about my pants.
Oh, he'll tell you. He'll 100% tell you. And a lot of like...
Well, not everybody can fit into skinny jeans like him.
And he'll say that. He'll literally say, not everybody can fit into skinny jeans like me. You're not one of them.
Here we go. Sorry to cut you off, Erinn. I got upset.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's okay. I think that there are some things that, it's like he's like anybody. He's not superhuman. He certainly lacks in certain areas, and he does a good job of making sure that he, like, gets far enough to surround himself with people who don't excel in the things or who do excel in the things he doesn't excel in.
Well, what do you think he lacks in?
I don't know.
Besides humility.
If you let's look at like a case study of like Tyson versus Otis, right? Like, they're on a pretty level playing field, except that one is a lot more charming than the other, and one has won the game before, and like, they're both probably equally athletic. And like, the thing about Tyson versus Otis is that, like, Tyson could potentially rub people the wrong way. He does speak his mind, where Otis is pretty, like, he kind of, like, just keeps it light, keeps things close to the vest. He's not, like, he'll let you in because he's got, like, all his, like, yoga zen, like, Zumba Zumba. But, like, he's not, he's not keeping you at an arm's length. You feel like, yeah, that's a real thing. Shut up. But, like, it's like, I just feel like there are certain, I mean, personally, if I have to pick which one I like more, obviously I know Tyson better, but like, I like Tyson a lot more. Do I think your average person, if you take 100 people, is it going to be 50-50 down the middle split of like, I would rather be friends with one than the other? Like, maybe, but I think people would probably rather, at first glance, be friends with Otis versus Tyson.
Are we headed down towards, are we going to start getting Team Otis and Team Tyson t-shirts? Is this all leading to Survivor 29, so. Tyson versus Otis?
Yeah, I hope so. That'd be awesome.
I mean, they were just cuddling a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that that's just like just an example. But I think that, let's say that it's not the two of them. Let's say that it's Monica and Tyson, same thing. Like, she's sweet and she's likable. And, I would bet she could win just as many challenges as some of these guys could,
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be said for that.
Could we go back to the scene last night where Tyson had basically like a 5-minute monologue during the episode, talking about all the things that's going on on that new tribe. And among the things that he discussed, first off, he talked about how he's back to stealing all the fruit. Were you ever concerned in Survivor Tocantins about what Tyson was doing to your coconuts?
We didn't have coconuts. We didn't have food to steal. It was a non-issue.
Okay. Do you think that Tyson is playing a dangerous game here with drinking all the coconuts?
No, I don't think so. No, because so say somebody walks in and he's drinking a coconut, like, they'll be like, "What are you doing? Drinking a coconut?" And he'll be like, "You know what? I was just feeling really lightheaded. Like, I just really, like, I'm so hungry. I'm passing out. Like, I feel awful. I just couldn't help myself to this one coconut. Nobody is going to say, oh, you're drinking this one coconut. Have you been feeling coconuts for the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, nobody's
That
gonna
would
have
never happen.
the
Yeah.
the drop the coffee mug Kaiser Soze moment. Oh my God, Tyson's been drinking the coconuts the whole time.
Yeah, and unless Jervis says so, and like then he's gonna have to. They'll be like, "How do you know he's been drinking the coconuts?" And he'll have to be like, "Cause I've been drinking the coconuts."
Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen. So
No.
then we had this whole really great sequence where Tyson is really throwing Otis under the bus to everybody. It's like, guys, I'm sorry that Aris is being so rude to you. I'm sorry, Aris is trying to tell you what to do in your camp. I'm sorry, Aris is doing this, which was hilarious. But what I
So
talked about,
funny.
we talked about this with Steven last night, and we kind of had differing opinions on this. Do you think that Otis knew what was going on with what Tyson was doing? Do you think that for Otis it was like, oh man, that Tyson, he's really just busting my balls? Or do you think that that Otis is aware on some level what Tyson is up to?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Because he does it in a way. It's not like he goes aside to these people and he's like, you guys really, like, he's just bossing you around. I'm so sorry. Like, I would bet from day one they have, like, a pretty, like, chirpy relationship. Like, they probably joke around. They probably just, like, chirp each other all the time. It's probably a back and forth. It's probably much more of a back and forth than what we're seeing in this episode. And it's probably, like, it probably seems like just their normal banter.
Yeah.
Because it's funny. It's not like he really was like, you guys, he is bossing you around and you need to stop and listen and realize this, you know, like, and I'm sure also that it was done in a way where they were kind of all doing the bossing. And, you know, it's like when you think about, I always have said that when you have a situation where you have survivors versus civilians, like the survivors always have such a huge advantage because they've done it before, whether it's challenges or building shelter or whatever. Like, if we go to civilian camp, like, let's say it's you, me, and Steven, and pick somebody else who has no clue how to build a shelter whatsoever.
Rupert?
Who's been on the show before.
Yeah.
Yes. You, me, Steven, Rupert. We show up to civilian camp, and they've built their shelter, and they've done whatever it is they were going to do. We'll probably still walk in and be like, oh, hey, you know what we did one time that worked really well? We should do that over here. Like, those sorts of things are going to happen, and there were probably lots of those sort of things that happened, and it just so happened that probably, like, after Tyson had pointed something out, and Jervis had pointed something out, and somebody else had pointed something out, Otis had pointed something out, and they were like, man, he's just really bossing you around. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't think it's done so deliberately, and surely it will get picked up on, but I doubt it. I doubt from what we just saw that it was right away.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to find out just a little bit more about that dynamic because I find it so fascinating. Because I wonder if it's the kind of thing where I wonder if Tyson says to Otis, hey, let's make it look like we have a little bit of a conflict so that they don't know how close we are. And so then like Otis doesn't mind what's going on because they're trying to sort of make it look like that there's a little bit of a smoke screen and they're not actually as close.
I don't know. I don't think it even looks like, I don't think they're making it look like they have a conflict. I think that Tyson says that aside to us, like to the camera, you know, he says that to the audience, but I don't think that what they showed of the two of them and their interaction with the tribe, I don't think that any of that, like, sort of let it be known that it was uncomfortable between them. Even though he was apologizing and even though it was, you know, he was saying, like, oh, he's doing this, he's doing that, like, it kind of sounded like he was just, like, joking around with him, but letting it be known to the other tribe that, yes, he is the one that told you to do this. Not me. It was him. But the way that he puts it up, it just sort of puts that idea in their head. Like when they say, like, so wait, when those guys came and bossed us around, oh wait, it wasn't Tyson that bossed us around, it was Otis that bossed us around. You know, I don't think he's doing it in a way that says, the two of us are not close. I think it almost, makes them look a little bit closer because they do have like a joking relationship and they can like, kind of chirp each other a little bit. But I didn't get the idea that if you're Colton or, whoever else is left at that tribe, Sierra, that you would be like, oh, these two don't like each other. I don't think you would get that idea at all.
So tell me, is there anybody else on this season that you know or you've had any interactions with? You said you know Hayden a little bit.
Yeah, I know Hayden a little bit. I know Kat a little bit. I've done a couple of things with Hayden, and then this summer I met them both. They were here in town for some spring training games, so I met them kind of briefly. Who else do I know from this season? Obviously, I know Tyson. I met Otis a little bit. Who else is on this season?
How about Tina?
Rupert, I obviously know, and Rupert and his wife I've met, a number of times.
Oh, do you have a Laura Bonham scouting report?
No. I mean, I've always met them, and she's like, I've been with Rupert so many times, and she has also been there.
Okay.
Like there's no, if I walked up to her on the street and she was not wearing a tie-dyed shirt and standing next to Rupert, like I may pass her.
That's fair.
But I've certainly like met her many times. It's just been not like a memorable encounter. Because Rupert is such a big personality, like Rupert takes up all the space in the room.
How about Tina?
Tina, I think I've met but briefly.
What about Candace?
Candace I've never met, actually.
Okay. All right, so...
question.
Yes.
Question. Was she on... I've met Laura. Was Candace on Heroes vs. Villains?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. And I said that to somebody the other day, and they were like, no, she wasn't. I was like, yeah, she was. Duh.
She was.
And then they made me feel like I was crazy. Yeah, she was totally on
She was there.
Okay, thank you.
She was there. So this week we had the big tribe swap. We started shook everything up. Did you like that they did that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I kind of think that a swap is weird. It doesn't really change much. It's a weird thing to do, just wait 2 more days and have a merge.
Yeah, I feel like we're close enough. I felt like you could have just let this play out for another week or so here, but whatever. It's sort of like, I feel like these are 2 sort of just weird weeks where it's like, somebody goes home who probably wouldn't have been the next person to go. It's always like last season we had like those weird 2 weeks where it was mostly a lot of like, I think it was Julia and Matt with the beard got voted off in those 2 weeks, and then we got to the merge. So I feel like sometimes these 2 weeks after the swap is just sort of like, killing time until we merge the week after.
Yeah. Can we talk about how this swap being a man tribe and a woman tribe is like Jeff Probst's wet dream right now?
We'll talk about this because we have been trying to get set up here. We have a podcast coming up. It's going to be actually next weekend with a woman, Linda Holmes, who wrote an article about how Survivor is slowly being killed by sexism. So we've been talking about this quite a bit on the podcast over the last couple of weeks. Give me your thoughts on this.
I have read this article that you referenced.
Yes.
And I think we've got a fair point.
All right, well,
I think
elaborate.
It makes a pretty fair point. It's like a slow burn. But Jeff Probst just loves men on the show. Just loves them. And like, even when you have a really super strong, super dynamic player, female player, who can take on the show and win, like, unless it's Party, that's like a different scenario. But like Kim Spradlin, so smart, so strategic, such a good player, super athletic, made great relationships, made all the right moves. Like, there was no question from like the 3rd episode that she deserved to win $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
She's like not a person that Jeff like waxes poetic about on a daily basis when she's better than a lot of the male winners have been. And it just, it's those little things, those little like needling things where when you hear him like constantly like in the challenges when people are messing up, he's never really like when he goes on those like real hard like chirping players, like it's never the guys. It's like when he's talking about the guys, he's talking about what heroes they are and how great they are and how wonderful they are. And when he's talking about the women, it's, oh my God, Laura and Tina, I can't believe
Erinn,
you did this. This is detrimental.
In fairness to Jeff, let me be Jeff's defender here for a moment. They forgot the thing that they were supposed to go. It's not like I went to the supermarket and I came home. Oh, I forgot to buy milk.
I know, but like, okay, let's say even in the what's that place that they go called when they get kicked out and then they have to
Redemption Island?
Redemption Island.
Red Eye.
Sorry. I have a really strong grasp on the English
not
language.
Exile Island.
So no, Redemption Island. So when we had the challenge last night and it was Brad and Laura and who was the last guy? John. So man, I like him. He's just a little bit forgettable. He wasn't on the show long enough for us to get to know him.
Right.
Nice guy though. Very happy for that, Candace. They're a cute little couple. So, and smart. Both of them so smart. They're gonna have the smartest, tallest babies.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like Laura flew through that challenge. Like she was doing pretty great. Okay. As long as we're on the topic of Laura, I'm going to say this very briefly.
Briefly, okay. Touch on this.
I know there's a lot of controversy and a lot of things that have been said and a lot of things that will still be said and whatever. I am not here to talk about Laura. I don't have an opinion on Laura. I have opinions about a lot of people who are affected by things that she does, but I'm not going to share them here.
Okay.
I do think that if you do things that you need to publicly apologize for and saying that never happened, I never did that, like this is not my fault, none of this is going on. I think if you feel the need to like make a public statement about something, you're probably feeling a lot of guilt because you actually did the thing that you're saying that you're not doing.
Okay, so you
and
say...
that is all I'm going to say about that.
She doth protest too much, is your take on this?
Yes. Yeah. That is what I'm saying.
Well, we talked to John Fincher last week, and he really
I know, and then I talked to John Fincher for quite a bit after that about you talking to John Fincher last week.
And what did he say?
And I said all of the things that I have to say privately, and I will not discuss them.
Yes, well, and there are some things that probably should be said in private and not in public. But I have to say the Robin's Podcast audience, overwhelmingly, I would say probably about 70-30. There were some people who really loved Fincher's appearance on the podcast. They say Fincher is great, and he is a good friend, and I feel like we have a good rapport, which makes for fun podcasting. But a lot of people, and I would say about 7 of 10, at least the ones who commented, felt like he was way over the top. And he almost came off as too biased in what he said, in that his credibility on the subject was hurt to a degree because he was so much that, Laura is this, it's Laura's fault that this happened, Laura's fault that this happened. She's dumb. She's a bad player. She should have got voted off. She wanted, she was on the grassy knoll. So a lot of people felt like it was too much against Laura.
Well, are these people, and I'm sure there's no way to know this, but are these people who would come from your regular listener base? Or are these people who listened because of the content?
Yeah, well, I would say that there was both. That I have people who were first time commenters and also people who were regular commenters. So
okay, yeah, because I would be, because it was so like, first of all, I think the whole thing is a non-controversy, and then it became a controversy when you come out and you make a public statement saying how not controversial. Well,
I agree. I do think that the preemptive apology, I felt like, made it more than it might have been had there been no preemptive apology.
Agree. And I wonder if because of that, and when you say, I don't know, I just feel like I feel like when you say a lot of things are going to be said about me in a lot of places, and they're not true, and they're this and they're that, but you're going to be hearing them, like, that would make me, if one of my friends said, you know what, like, this shitty thing happened, and now they're going to, like, all these people are going to be talking about it, like, I would be like, well, I want to hear what they're saying. Like, I'm going to go to the places where they're going to talk about it, and I want to
Oh,
hear what they have to say
yeah.
so that I can defend my friend,
Yeah.
you know? So I wonder if a little bit of that happens. But yes, I mean, like, John is very passionate about the things that
He was
feels passionate
he was
about.
certainly passionate. Yes. So it
Yeah,
really depends
yeah,
on what your tolerance for the finchular is.
yeah. Well, and like, you know, his like decibel and octave level accelerates so much when he gets so passionate
Yeah.
about things. I can see how maybe it would be easy to turn the volume down or leave the room
Well,
for a few minutes.
yeah. Well, let's go back. Let's just touch on this one more time, and maybe
Oh,
this
how
is.
did? Okay, wait. We were talking about
Well, let
sexism
me
in
let
games,
me
and I
tie
just
this all
totally
in,
cut off.
because there were some
Okay.
people who, on this same discussion of sexism in Survivor and on reality TV, felt like there was, to some degree, I'm not gonna use the S word, but a bit of shaming that was done of that. Oh, like we're such a puritanical society that Laura gives somebody a massage, she's a bad person because she did this, and everybody, this was an embarrassment for her family because she's giving a massage, and that thinking is sexist.
Mm, no, that's
Nobody's
weird.
nobody's
I
complaining about Otis getting a massage, but Laura is giving a massage, and people say that that's this is embarrassing.
I think that we're really reaching to get to that. Really reaching. I think when you go out and you make a statement and you say I wasn't doing anything wrong, this is no big deal. Because she wasn't doing anything wrong, and it was no big deal. But because she made such a big deal of it, and like, I would imagine that the average casual Survivor viewer, and I have a lot of them who are clients of mine, right? Like, I have a ton of clients who just watch Survivor, and then when they come in and they get their hair done, we kind of talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're not podcast listeners. They don't watch all the video on the website after the fact. Like, they don't watch all the hidden scenes. They don't know the last names of players. They're just like your average viewer.
Got it.
I would bet that your average viewer didn't think much of it other than the fact that they had the short interview with Otis where he said, yeah, she's kind of trying to butter me up and like whatever. They never talked about it being uncomfortable on the show. They never said anything like that. I bet the average viewer never thought twice about it. They were like, oh yeah, she's like trying to get in with him, like whatever. I'm sure they never considered it. But because we, as like the Survivor community and the Survivor fan base, know so much backstory, and we see the post on Facebook that says everything that it said, and we see all of those things, and we know a little bit about like who the person we're dealing with is, and we know a little bit about your family. We know all of those things. It makes it seem like such a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you were just, somebody was sitting on your couch and you stopped on Survivor on Wednesday night and you saw a girl giving a guy a massage, you'd be like, huh, that probably feels good. And you change the channel. Like, it just wouldn't be, well, hopefully you would watch the whole show because it's a good show. But like, you wouldn't really think about it much.
So taking away the Laura
and I don't
angle,
think it was ever.
Oh,
What's that?
I was going to say, taking away the Laura angle, that Survivor massage, big deal or no big deal?
No big deal. I mean, there have been massages in every episode up until that episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Survivor Tribe, not the civilian tribe, but the one of survivors.
I like your
like
names for them. The civilian
well,
tribe.
they are civilians, kind of, But like, but it's like they every night around the campfire, like they were snuggling or they were massaging or they were whatever. I'm surprised that like more people have brought up Laura and Otis than Tyson and Otis. Like, come on. Like, it just is like, it's not that big of a deal.
So you're saying that if Tyson had posted on his Facebook page Hey,
I'm so sorry that I was snuggling with
yeah,
Otis at the
I
campfire.
have a girlfriend, Rachel, who I
Yes,
adore, and they're gonna show
yes.
some footage of me, and I'm in
And
a
I'm so not gay. I'm so
I'm
not gay.
not.
I'm
Yeah,
so not
I
gay.
don't want
I'm
anybody to
pretty
think
sure
that I'm gay.
everybody.
I'm
I'm
100%
pretty
not
sure
gay.
everyone would be like, "Oh my God, Tyson likes dudes."
Okay, so sometimes, but so you're saying that the cover up is worse than the crime.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
very much
all right,
so.
fair enough.
Very much so.
All right,
I think it brought a lot of light to a situation we wouldn't have even noticed.
okay. Well, let's move on a little bit. Was there anything else you wanted to say on the
Oh,
subject of the survivor and sexism outside of
yes,
MassageGate?
yes, and that was how this whole thing started. So in this challenge, you've got Laura, Brad, and John, and Brad is obviously somebody that Probst like loves to love and loves some more,
He's a fan.
and he's like not doing great in the challenge,
No.
and Laura's like pretty much killing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get like Laura's in first place, Brad's following behind. Laura's in first place, Brad's following behind. Brad fell down, he has to go back. Laura's doing pretty good. Brad fell down, he has to go back. If it's the other way around, what you're getting from Probst is Brad Culpepper, professional athlete, flying through this challenge. He's doing so good. Oh, he's got this puzzle and he's killing it. Laura, you're in second place. You better go faster. You're never going to catch him. He's a machine. You know, like it was not a very exciting challenge to watch.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
he didn't get so excited about the dude winning and the female failing.
yeah, we certainly. The one I always say is the one Boston Rob, literally carrying his family on his back. That was.
Yep.
Yeah, we didn't reach
Yep.
a 10 in Probst hyperbole. I have to say I didn't have a big issue with the commentary in the challenge. That didn't occur to me while the challenge was going, but I know Jeff did love Brad Culpepper. The one that I thought was a little when he talked about like Brad, you've been in the biggest of arenas. What is it like now to be out of the game? I thought that was a little bit over the top. Now we all know, Erinn, that you are a big Packers fan. Now Brad Culpepper, who played his NFL career with the drafted by the Vikings, played in the mid '90s. With the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were then at that time division rivals of the Packers, and of course finished his career with the Bears in 2000. Did you have any thoughts on Brad Culpepper?
My only thoughts, I won't hold anything against anyone for the team they've played on. I am a huge Packers fan, but like I kind of have, if this was 3 years ago, I might have felt differently. But like I live in that life now a little bit, and like as a player, it's not your choice where you play. So I can't be mad at somebody for playing against my team anymore. Like, you know, we have like when you look at hockey, 2 nights ago, my fiance had to play against his 2 best friends, and we all went to dinner afterwards. It's a really different thing.
Don't hate the player.
When you're seeing it, it's the game. It's the game. It's not the person.
Yeah.
I have this to say about the Culpeppers.
Yes.
This is like a formal invitation to Monica and Brad Culpepper to please be my friend. I love them.
Oh.
I've never met them. I want to meet them. Like, they are great to me. Like, I really, really enjoy them a lot.
So you're no Candace Woodcock?
No, not at all. I mean, I think that he like, excuse me, I don't think he really knew what he was getting into going to play the game, and he got a little ahead of himself. But I think that like they just seem like they're like a nice family. I don't know. I really like them.
They do seem very sweet in how they relate to each other, because God knows if I was to play Survivor with my wife, I think that she would be looking to vote me out by day 3. There would be no of this warm affection going back and forth in these tough times and defending each other.
Yeah.
To the end. All right, so I know we only have so much time, and we have so much more to get to. So we teased it at the top of the show. all right, tell us about this engagement story. Yes. So what did Dave do here? To
It's not a story to tell. It was really nice, but it's not a story to tell.
Oh, as
Yeah.
in it's a good story and you can't tell us, or
No, it's a good story, and I just like to keep it close.
okay, that's
It was really nice.
well, that is fair. Well, congratulations. I know a
Yeah.
lot of our listeners are going to be very disappointed to see you off the market, but we're very excited for you. Yeah, did you know? And then what? Now they say that things come in threes. So who got engaged first, you or Kim Kardashian?
Okay, so here's the thing. Kim and I are like kindred spirits. And I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing.
Whoa.
But I got engaged first. I actually got engaged last week, and I had no intention of putting it out there into the world of Facebook, but my mom went ahead and did that for us.
Yeah. That's
So
a
that
thing.
was how you all found out.
That's a thing.
My mom posted it, and she was like, because I was waiting to tell my girlfriends and whatever, and Dave has a huge family, so we had a lot of people to tell, and I made my mom wait and wait and wait. And so finally she was like, can I put it on Facebook? Can I put it on Facebook? And I was like, my mom lives and dies by Facebook. She's like 13-year-old. But so I said, yes, Mom, you can put it on Facebook. And I thought she would like post a status that was like, my daughter's engaged. I'm so happy. No, lo and behold, she puts a picture up. She tags us in it. She like says all this nice stuff. And between the two of us, like, and I didn't know any of this happened, I've got like 100 comments in 4 minutes. I'm like, oh, thanks, Mom. That was nice.
Yeah, I know it's tough. We had the same thing with the baby. With people are family members are trying to posting things on Facebook before we're like, can we just have an hour here where we're not on Facebook?
Yep.
But anyway, that's life in 2013. Wah. Okay, so we've got so many questions for you, Erinn.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Let's do it.
All right, we might have to go a little fast because we have so many. All right, let's start with Jeff Pittman, who wants to know. These came to us on our Facebook page and also on our Reddit. Our Facebook page is at facebook.com/Rob has a podcast. If you want to like our page and get your questions in for our next Survivor guest. Oh, by the way, did you feel like Eric Reichenbach stole your thunder with also getting engaged this week?
He did?
Yes.
Oh, congratulations to him. No, I think everybody should get engaged. It's the greatest thing ever. I'm literally the happiest person in the world.
It's fun.
And I just want everyone else to feel like that.
It's fun because you get engaged. It's like, it's great. Everybody's congratulating you, and you don't have to, and you're not dealing with the aggravation of planning a wedding yet. It's just, it's all fun right now.
I am planning a wedding, and it's awful.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting married in July. It's misery.
Yeah. Coach got married this past July. Did you go to Coach's wedding?
Yeah. No.
Oh.
No, I found out about it on Facebook like everybody else.
Did your mom post that Coach got married on Facebook?
She probably knew about it before I did. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, I bet she did.
All right. Well, speaking of Coach, Jeff Pittman wants to know, when you played together, Tyson had short hair. Now it's shoulder length, and he's talking about magic. Is Tyson turning into Coach?
First of all, hi, Jeff. We haven't talked in a while. Second of all, did Tyson have short hair? I don't think he did.
Did he originally?
It wasn't as long as it is now. No. When we played, it was long.
And then
when we played, it was long. It was not as long as it is now, but it was long. And I kind of feel like Tyson always talked about magic a little bit. Okay. But the kind of wide-eyed fun magic, not dragon magic that Coach talks about.
Yeah. All right. This came to us from a lot of different people. Trevor Chong wants to know, would you date someone who didn't make the merge? Now, we know you're off the market. Okay. So this is not even an issue. But hypothetically, let's go back in time like 3 years.
Yes.
Would you ever date someone who didn't make the merge?
Here's how I feel about dating people.
And now let me just set this up also that this was, of course, then Kat went to Redemption Island last night. She was very sad. She said she was so embarrassed. Yeah. She felt like she was a nerd. She felt like a -2, and she thought that Hayden wouldn't want to date her anymore because nobody wants to date somebody who doesn't make the merge.
Yes. There's some truth to be said for that because the cool kids usually make the merge.
That's a thing, isn't it? It's a thing.
It really is. It's a thing, and so you gotta think about that. But there are sometimes tough breaks. Like I remember when this is not answering the question at all. But I remember when I was about to go do Survivor and Survivor Gabon was airing, and it was the night before I left, and Jackie Berg, I think was her name, blonde girl. She was like the fourth person voted out. And she was like this beautiful girl. She went to University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Yeah.
Like she was farm sales or something. Like she was so nice and she was so friendly and she just got like a tough break and she got voted out.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going to bed that night crying because I was like, if that girl can't make the merge, I'm never going to make the merge. And it was just some stupid thing that happened that made her go home. And I was so worried about it because all I kept thinking was like, I know I'll make the merge because the cool kids make the merge. And so, yes, cool kids make the merge. Secondly, to answer your question, would I date someone who doesn't make the merge? That's like a tough thing. Like I don't care when I think about like dating people and, you know, who you're going to end up with and whatever. Like I don't care what your job is. I don't care what you do. But I definitely would never date somebody who didn't strive for excellence in all things. And I feel like somebody who does that would make the merge. So the answer is no.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It really is the thing. And I know for the people who are listening are like, what are you talking about? This is crazy. But there is a little bit of a division of the people that made it to the merge and the people that didn't make it to the merge. And so if you're like one of these guys that's like pre-merge, sometimes, you know, you can get in with some of these like good-looking women that are out of your league because they're also pre-merge. But they're somewhat their stock is a little lowered because they're a pre-merge person. Whereas if this person made the merge,
somebody said to me one time when they were talking about, you know, all the people that get voted out, like they have to hang out and like go on a trip because they can't go home.
Yeah.
I was like, they were telling me about it, and I was like, that sounds amazing and beautiful. And he was like, it's not amazing or beautiful. It's a parade of misfits.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, yep. Because the cool kids make the merge.
I know. I had an unusual one of those on the first All Stars where I went on the vacation with Tina and Rudy and Richard Hatch. And and that was that like every other one of these trips, like I hear stories like, oh my God, we partied and this person had a breakdown and it was great and whatever. And unfortunately, like this was pretty boring.
Yeah.
But I made the merge the first time. That's what, like, it doesn't matter if you make. I thought about this a couple times. It doesn't matter if you made the merge once and then you don't lose that. You still made the merge once.
And a setting where they bring people back is different because they're only bringing back the cool kids, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
So like, if you don't make the merge this time around, who cares?
You got your card punched once, yeah.
Yeah. Like, she still has crazy hair. He'll still totally make out with her. Like, it'll be fine.
And the corollary is true also, where if you did not make the merge the first time, but you get brought back and you make the merge the second time, then you're in also.
Yes, but, like, if you didn't make the merge the first time, who's bringing you back?
Well, there are some people. Let's just to throw a few names out there. Boston Rob famously made the merge the second time. There were some people that did not make the merge. Monica Culpepper in this season, for instance.
Oh yeah.
And Colton,
but you know,
amazingly,
Dave is waiting so much to retire just so he can be on Survivor. It's so funny. He's like, Brad Culpepper's just like me. That could be us. We could do it. And I would win and I would vote you out so fast. I'm like, thanks, Dave.
Well, even Jack, he wants to know, is it true that you were considered for Blood versus Water with your boyfriend? So is this, now I don't know if you could talk about this or not. Is this a true story?
If it is true, nobody told me, first of all. And there's no way that, like, let's be smart about this. There is no way that anybody could play, like, any athlete could never be on Survivor until after they retired.
Right.
Like, they film, first of all, Survivor doesn't film in the hockey off season. The season's still happening. We could never do it. Second of all, they train all their off season. They can't go out to the jungle and lose 40 pounds. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So if I was being considered, I don't know about it. And
Yeah.
I think probably not.
Okay. Well, good to know. So
Hmm.
let's see. We got so many good questions. Well, this got asked from a number of people. Jordan Chong wants to know who's the jackass this season. Who's
Oh
the
God, I wish I had never said this. This is like this dumb quote follows me around for like my whole life. I
Sure.
guess it could be worse.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a real big idiot playing. And I
No.
think it's because, no, I think it's kind of because of the twist. So you've got people who have played before, so they kind of know the deal, right? But then, like, if it's like their family and friends, it's also people who are really familiar with the game. You know, it's like I watch every episode, so my parents watch every episode, like, because they got into it when I was on it.
Mm-hmm.
My sister's super into the show. My boyfriend's super into the show. You know, like, maybe these people have, like, a better understanding, so I don't feel like there's one, like, idiot playing.
Okay.
Except for Colton, but, you know, he's a
So
quitter.
Who is this jackass?
so let's see. What else do people want to know? How about Joe Rutch wants to know from our Reddit page, how would Coach handle the coconut bandits? Could Tyson still be a warrior if he's stealing coconuts?
Yes, because Tyson can do no wrong in Coach's eyes. Anybody else would be, like, cut down for dishonoring the tribe. Tyson could steal coconuts all day long, and he would, like, talk about how great he is.
Yeah. Let's see.
100%.
So, E.M. Benjamin 14 wants to know, though he's generally beloved now, you, Erinn, and Tyson were far from best friends in Tocantins. In this season, he appears to be universally well-liked by everyone. What do you think has changed? This is the second time that he's played on a tribe with someone named Sierra, and they actually appear to be getting along this time. So now Tyson is getting along with everybody, including Sierra. So what has Tyson done differently?
I think that it probably just has something to do with, you know, you're a little bit older, you're a little bit more humble. Like, those things probably kind of play into it a little bit. But I think that sort of like Tyson not getting along with people had to do with the fact that Sierra was miserable and impossible to get along with. And that, like, I don't know, he is a likable guy. And even in, like, some of the stories that were told on our season, like, you only saw part of it. Like, we generally got along. We all got along pretty well. We all had a lot of fun together. There were just some times that were like, oh, wow, this person is awful to be around for 90% of the time. I mean, he's a good guy. He's a fun guy. Like, as long as you don't have a real strong personality in the mix, like, he's going to get along with people.
All right. Now, Erinn, since the last time you've been on the podcast has, continued to grow. We have new people listening to us for the first time every week. So there are many people who probably have never even heard your first two appearances on Rob Has a Podcast. So, Brendan.
Oh, that's too bad. They were brilliant.
Well, we'll be sure we can link to them, I'm sure, on Rob's website. So Brendan Noel has a question. He wants to know, can we hear again how badly Erinn would have beaten Steven if they were in the Tocantins final two? She didn't cover that enough last time.
I do think it's true. I totally think it's true. I totally think I would have won. I know that Steven completely disagrees, but I think I would have won.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
If I think too hard about it, it makes me mad.
All right. This is a question from Brandon Jodoon. He wants to know, is it a coincidence that the only two pairs fully intact left in the game just happen to contain the only two winners on this season? So what do you think of that? Is there anything to that?
I had not thought of that before, but I bet there might be a little something to this.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that if you have won before, there's probably a bit of a confidence that goes along with that. So maybe you don't need to, like, play as hard as other people, and you can come off a little less threatening. And maybe that's what's been keeping their people safe. Also, I think that they have the right kind of family member with them. They're not, like, like Tina and her daughter, for instance, are not hugely threatening to anyone. And I think that as far as Vetus goes, there are people who, like, I would really consider getting rid of before I got rid of him. So I think that it's probably a number of things, but I bet that has something to do with it.
All right, two more questions here. Or actually, one more from me first. So we all know that I am the Rob that sucks compared to the Rob that doesn't suck. But who, in your opinion, is the Sierra that sucks?
Oh, my Sierra sucked so much more.
So Sierra
much more.
Tocantins sucks way more than Sierra.
Here's the difference. Sierra Blood versus Water, like, kind of sucks, but not really. You know, she's just kind of there.
She's there.
She's there, and she knows she's just there.
Yeah.
My Sierra sucked, but she thought she was the world's greatest person ever alive, ever, and would tell you about it at every turn. And that was what made her suck so much more. Like, my Sierra probably would have been cool if she didn't think she was so great. So, like, in comparison, this Sierra, like, doesn't even suck. She's just there.
She's just there. Alex Isaac wants to know, what do you think of the comparison of JT and Steven to Otis and Tyson? Do you see any similarities there?
No.
What about Tyson and Jervis?
No.
No?
I think we're working too hard to make comparisons.
We're reaching.
Yeah. I think these are definite reach. But I do really like the Tyson and Jervis alliance. I think it's a little bit unexpected. And I like Jervis a lot, and I like what he said in last night's episode about getting to the end. You know, like coming and playing the game. Mm-hmm. Like, not just, like, showing up and, like, riding along both times. I thought that was a really interesting observation, and I like that he's very aware of it.
All right, and then one last question. This is from Joe Rutch, who wants to know, did you ever see Tyson scheme against Coach behind his back like he is doing to Otis? Did you ever see anything like that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you always see stuff like that because people have to kind of talk it out, and you have to, I mean, literally in just, like, strategizing and planning, like, it gets talked out. But even the things that he's doing, like, we all know that, like, everybody knows that Coach is an idiot. It would be weird if Tyson wasn't pointing out that he's an idiot.
Now,
and
do we all know that? Coach is a nice man, Erinn.
I mean, Coach doesn't know that, but the rest of us know it.
Hey. Please, we don't want to get a bunch of comments from Coach fans now.
No. I mean, like, and I'm the first to say that, like, Coach in life is a wonderful person. Coach on the show was really hard to live with for 35 days or however long he was there. And when I'm talking about this stuff, I'm talking about Coach in the show. So that's all for my political.
In July 2014, will Coach be giving you away at your wedding?
Probably not.
No? But there's a chance?
Probably
is what you're saying?
No.
There's a chance.
I mean, yeah. So you're saying there's a chance. No.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's about everything. Erinn, do you know the answer to a Survivor trivia question of who is the last person ever to be voted out in third place?
Wait. Say that
again? I thought about this the other day. That you're the last person ever to be voted out in third place.
Oh, because it's been final three since me.
Yeah.
Did I just get screwed? Maybe I did.
Yeah, I think you did, because not only has it been every season since you, but it was also the one before you too. So for some reason, people just said, you know what? Let's screw job third place.
It was the one before me.
Yeah,
and it was the one before me.
I think it was. I think it was 15, then not 16, then 17, then not 18. And because Suri also is in that boat also of people who have been screwed since they've gotten to there. But but you're the answer to a trivia question. Someday there could be a Survivor Pringle with your name on it.
You know what else I am? I am also the last person to be on Exile Island because they haven't done it since my season.
Oh, look at you.
And you know what? That's not true. Coach went after I did.
That's true.
Remember
Yes.
when he had that like weird 2 days on Exile?
Yes.
And there was one other one. It was actually on Jeopardy one time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Somebody like sent me a thing of it. I can't remember what it was, but
yeah.
But like I was like part of the question.
Wasn't it like, this Survivor would have easily beaten Stephen Fishback in the Survivor Tocantins final 2?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. 100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, Erinn, thank you so much. Do you tweet a lot about the show?
I don't like.
Rarely.
I can't always watch the show when it's on because mostly like we have games or whatever. So if I watch it when it's airing, I will tweet about it. But now that I'm on the West Coast, it's a little tough because I try to just stay off Twitter because I don't want to see what happens
Spoilers
before it's happening.
All right. Well, if
you
you
West Coasties, you have a hard life.
I watch the
I'm
East Coast feed. I've got I'm
How do
slinging.
you do that? I don't even know.
Well, put a sling box at your mom's house, and then you'll be good to go.
Oh,
all
Marty Pants.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So follow at the recently engaged E. Marie Lowe, still one of the bottom 5 Twitter handles of any Survivor. I'm sorry to report. I have to call it like it is. Sorry, but
that's okay. I think I have to change it because my name's not going to be E. Marie Lowe for very much longer.
What's going to be your new name?
I don't know. Well, my new name will be Moss. But I don't know what my new Twitter name is going to be. I'm open for suggestions.
So you're gonna be Erinn Moss?
I am going to be Erinn Moss.
No relation to Hayden Moss.
No relation to Hayden Moss.
Okay.
But when they met each other, Dave was like real excited that they had the same name.
Okay. Well, that is exciting. All right. Well, Erinn, thank you so much for coming on with us. I hope we don't wait another 2 years to do this again.
Yeah, no kidding. Call me more often.
All right. Well, great job, Erinn. We'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, take care.